project at hand is these here iron cart kits. I use them to haul these hit miss throttle governor engines. Works out quite well. Looks good. But I thought I'd show you what we're working on. And this right here, that's an axle out of original McCormick Dairy & M cart. I'll show you something. This right here is the front part. And I went with this I went with this type handle attachment and come up here about a foot. I put a little bend in it right there, so it would come up past the cart wood runners, and then right there's the way you would finish this kit. Right there's the way your handle would look. So just a piece of pipe, and this here solid bar comes up, sticks in there. In this case here, I brazed that in there, but you could easily weld it. It looks good, but that's not the way they'll be on this here kit. But this is just original. What I was going to do is tell you about it. Is the front axle on original cart is schedule 80, and the rear axle is schedule 40. I don't know. Well, that's interesting. And they had a cast iron centerpiece there, set screw to line it in center. I narrowed this axle quite a bit. So I show you this for a reason. This being that's front wheel. This is the other front wheel. And you would have a cotter on the outboard side, and then you would have a cotter on the inboard side. This is original. And that cast iron wheel would turn onto that axle, onto that pipe right there. You know. So that's the original wheel right there. It don't have no hole in it where you can oil that or anything. They just casted it and set it on. So this is what that I'm kind of copying, so to speak. And this would be the new. Oh, that's a good fit right there. I'm not going to force it down on that. Oh yeah. Well, I should. So that's what we're going to have. And these will be on the upper end of this to attach our wood runners to, and a pivot in the center. Okay, the design I came up with is See, this right here is what you're going to get. It's in here. In this package right here is this thing right here, plus, I'll show you. Okay? You get all that. You get 4 wheels of the same size. Them wheels is, them's 8-inch wheels by 2-inch. You get 4 of those. All bearing in there. I was putting this front end together. You could weld it up where it all needed to be welded, and this is what you'd end up with. And you take some of these things here, some skids, long pieces of wood to set an engine or wagon bed onto. The holes are pre-drilled. All the holes are drilled. All the metal is cut to size, and it's a full bill of materials included. And there is some tolerances built into it, or that you can modify it to your artistic liking. I'll show you. Well, I'll show you. Oh yeah. First off, I mean, this is about all the blueprints gonna come with it. This one has one washer out here, spacer washer. Roller bearing wheels. And my version of that pivot point we just talked about is this right here. We got that axle in there. I've got a special washer on the outside, don't have any on the rear. In the rear, the 2 wheels on the rear of the cart that we just saw is 1-inch solid bar. That's a custom made deal. And this right here, we'll see what size it is. Okay, that's 3/4. So, and this is the pivot. And it's drilled for the 2 wood runners, skids. This happens to be there's an oil hole right here, 1/2-inch bolt, lock nut. And I'll show you something about that bolt. Yeah. So what I come up with in this kit, this right here is that's a cart, a trolley, wagon, wagon frame, kit, welding kit. Got to weld it together. So, but this is what it is. I'll show it to you. You get 2 axles. That's 1-inch square tubing, 11 gauge. That's pretty thick stuff. More than's needed here. It's heavily built. But to do any less would not be good enough. So, and to do any more it would add too much weight to it. So what I come up with to make a nice welding project is the 2 axles, and I have 4 of these solid ¾ You get 4 of those. These are little stub axles. They fit the wheel. Nice roller bags. And also, they fit the 11 gauge. Good snug fit. And as you can see, this is what, if you could see it outside of itself, it'd be like that right there. This goes past those 2 holes, and then you plug weld them, and then grind that flush, and it works very good. It looks good also. In my opinion, it could be biased, but this is what you get. You get some cars, you get them 2 things on the front, you get the pivot, and this one right here happened to be these happen to be 12 inches across here. This is the way you'd get it, ground on whatever grit I was using that day. Cut, you know, that's the finish you're going to get. All the holes will be drilled and countersunk. And there's 2 tie-down holes in the back. And you can see the steel's a little bit different, but that's the way it came. So, 2 in the runner holes. And the metal finishing from here on is to your standard. But you'll get a bolt to go in the front of here also for this pivot thing, and a washer on the bottom, and you'll get a lock nut. But it won't be this one. It's wrong size. You'll get a bolt like this right here. 1/2-inch 13 thread, but it'll have a shoulder. It won't be threaded all the way to the bottom, and you use that right there to line it up. It won't be as wobbly because the threads are smaller than that. So you'll get one of them in there, and it'll be cut off with a 2 length on the bandsaw. But this is what you end up with on the front. But in order to weld this, I'll show you how it works. Well, this is the back piece right here. Okay, I want this axle to end up after, first thing you do is these already drilled on the end, and you put this in your wheel, and you put a cotter in there. And then you slide that up in this square tubing until it's the tightness that you want for this wheel to turn on. And then you would weld up these two holes right here and grind them flush. You do that on all four ends. So you would like for this, with these wheels right here, you'd like for this to end up in the middle of this plate right here. I say that because the size, you can move it bias one way to the other. You don't have to center it up on that. But I was cutting up some metal the other day, and it ended up as this right here, and I found out that was a perfect height. I'll show you something. This was a big old square at one time, a big old clamp, and I used it for something else, so I done already cut it apart and ended up with these chunks of metal, and I find they're quite useful. And this one right here, being 1 1/2 inches tall, works perfect. So what I found out to do is just go ahead and put your axle up on top of that right there. And this other part right here, if you take it right up here like that right there, let's put this sideways. Like this right here, you might be able to see it. Be interested to make that. We get another piece of metal. But you bring in on your welding table, your line-up blocks and such. And put one about in this vicinity. And you have two of these right here. You have two long ones. I'll show you. You have two of these long and two short. And the difference being is 1/4 of an inch. So this is the rear, this has the long one. So you take these two long things right here, and if you block them up the same height, the angle meaning on the front of that axle is this would be to the inside as to weld on to this thing right here. Keeping that in mind, on this top plate from the inside you would go out like that. So if you put that on that block right there, and you put that down there like that, and you bring this up here like this right here, and down in wherever it needs to be at, and then your other one will be over here. Okay, if you can see that That's what you need to weld up. So on your welding table, whatever kind of blocking system you need, I'm just setting it up here to this here. If I was going to weld this together, I'd be out there on that welding table and I'd be clamping it down. But this is what you need to end up with, ever how you go about it. You know, you can hand hold it if you want to, if you act good. But you weld this together. You all over everywhere, and then you grind the welds to how you think it looks good. And these here would already be in here, so by that time you've already got yourself a rear wagon bolster, I guess. Well, let's measure that from right down here at the bottom up to the bottom of that. Let's see what it is. Okay, it's 1.5. So up here at the top, I'm gonna measure that down. Well, that's 1.5. So that means we got that on center down there. So that's good to weld right there. The height being that everything's blocked up on is this 1.5 inches block up down there positions it about perfect. So clamp her down, weld her up. And like I say, these right here are, you know, you can come way out here at the edge if you want to, or you can go way up in there and butt them together if you had a mind. It'll be just as strong. So it's also a pretty good idea, I guess, to match up the front, you know, or whatever. I'll show you. This right here on the front, this will be welded right there, and this will be welded over here in the same position, keeping in mind that this is the thing you're going to be welding on, so it would be right here. That's pretty good. See, we're good to go right there. I tend to come out to the edge myself on both sides, and then whatever is the same down here, right there, and you can measure if you want to, you know, like going from here over to there and back there like that. But see, that would be the front right there, you know, and just weld that up. And then you're going to get in the box also, you get these things right here, some of them, and that goes right on the front here. And I usually put these about 1 foot apart, like that. You get 2 of them, and you weld them on there and grind it down to your liking.